Okay, so this is a lesson that I have developed for fifth graders about parts of a flower and pollination. So I made a PowerPoint for my visual learners, and I will also be speaking for my auditory learners, and there will also be some hands-on learning. So my first slide is just an overview of what we'll be doing to lessen the anxiety of some students. So we will learn about the parts of a flower, and we will learn about the importance of pollination and pollinators. Okay, so my next slide, I want to start with a question to the students. So I would ask them, what is pollination? And just call on people with their hands up. And then I would explain that pollination is the transfer of pollen grains to fertilize the seed-producing ovaries of flowers. This process is crucial to reproduction of plants because the flower eventually produces seeds. And many plants do this by having pollinator partners. Pollinators are animals that move pollen from one individual plant to another individual plant of the same species. They receive food or nectar from the flowering plants. This is a mutually beneficial relationship. Pollinators play a significant role in the production of over 150 food crops in the U.S. 1 out of 3 bites of food you take rely on pollinators. And I would just go through these pictures. So those are pollen grains. That is a bee pollinating a flower. The pollen grains are on the back legs here. And this is a flower called arrowleaf balsam root. And then I would go over the different parts of the flower, noting that the pistil is the female part and the stamen is the male part. I would also have worksheets on each student's desk. I would then ask them to work in groups of 2 to fill out the worksheet with the parts of the flower. And the worksheet will look identical to this flower, but they'll just need to fill in the blanks. So next I would ask, who are pollinators? So I would ask the question, can anyone think of some examples of animals here in Idaho that are pollinators? And answer, or pick people with their hands up, and hopefully they would see these on the screen and be able to answer it. Okay, so next I wanted to do a hands-on activity. So the hands-on activity is you're going to construct a model of an insect and then see how it will pollinate a flower. So each student will have some paper or pipe cleaners on their desk. And I will explain that you'll make an insect by bending one pipe cleaner into an insect shape, then twisting a second pipe cleaner around its center. The insect needs to be small enough to fit into the bottom of the paper cup flower. The cup represents flowers, and the pipe cleaner is the pistil, or the female part of the flower. There will be colored powder at the bottom of each cup, which represents pollen. The students will then have the opportunity for a few minutes to fly their insects in and out of their flower cup and the cups of other students, and allow them to touch the powder and taped pipe cleaner. And they will switch tables clockwise, fly in and out of the cup. And I'll also show them pictures of how to do that while I'm explaining it, and while they're making it I can walk around and help those who need some extra help. And at the end I'll ask some more reflection questions. So what happened to the taped pipe cleaner? Are there different colors on the pipe cleaner? What did we use to simulate the flower's pollen? What happened to the pipe cleaner insect? What happened to the pollen? How do you think this relates to real flowers? I would then like to go over important things that pollinators create, such as clothes and different crops. And I was also thinking I could bring food and ask questions about which ones are made possible by pollinators, and they would realize that their diet would look very different without pollinators. So some UDL considerations I had, I created a PowerPoint for visual learners and also spoke for auditory learners for multiple means of representation while also having hands-on learning. In addition to lecture style, I asked pointed questions throughout and had them work in a group and individually and be a part of hands-on learning, which provided multiple means of expression and multiple means of engagement.